Hey guys, how we doing? One second, just like in one of the last videos I was making, I just misplaced the pen again. I just had it, lost it, found it, and then lost it again. So let me find it, and I got it. This is like becoming a routine, right? It's kind of, I hope it's amusing. I hope it wasn't annoying, but I got it. Okay, so this is Mr. Chavla, and today I'm going over the August 2016 Common Core Algebra 2 exam, starting with numbers 1. I'll see if I can get 1 through 6, 1 through 8, 1 through 12, depending on how much time. I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter. So let's see what we got. So again, it's the August 2016 exam. Common Core Algebra 2 is Mr. Chavla or Mr. C. And I'm going to be doing the part 1 key, not the entire part 1, but numbers 1 through, let's just say it's 1 through 8 for now. If we could get more done, great. If it's a little less, that's fine too. So let's get right to it. Which equation has 1 minus I as a solution? So this first thing we know, we're given a bunch of quadratic equations. The other thing you want to know is that if 1 minus I is a solution, the other one's going to be 1 plus I. So you could use your calculator if you know how to get it. So basically it'll look like 1 plus minus I. If you know how to get it in complex mode and there's a polynomial equation or quadratic equation solver, we'll do that. For now, I'm just going to use the I'm going to use the quadratic formula in case the calculator you're using doesn't allow you to do that, which shouldn't be the case. But before we do that, remember the quadratic formula is given to you. I'll write it on the side. X equals negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared. It's in the reference table in the back of your exam, all over 2a. Now remember, the b squared minus 4ac right here has to be negative in order for us to get an imaginary root, I. So I'm just going to calculate that part for numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And anything that doesn't have a negative discriminant, it's called, we're going to eliminate. So for choice 1, a equals 1. Actually, for all of them, a equals 1. So let's start this. B equals 2. We'll do them one at a time. Just calculate the discriminant first. And C equals negative 2. So our b squared minus 4ac becomes 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. And you could put that in the calculator. That becomes 4 plus 8, which is 12. There's 4, 2 negatives become positive, and it's 12. So that's no good. Let's look at choice. So I'm just going to erase that, all right, because it's no good. Because it has to be a negative value in order to result in I, because you take the square root of negative numbers to get I. So let's try choice 2. So b squared minus 4ac. Well, first of all, our b value for choice 2 is 2, our a value is 1, and our c value is also 2. So we get 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2. That becomes 4 minus 8. That's negative 4. So this is a candidate. I'll just put a question mark. Let's see choice 3. In choice 3, a is 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 2. All right. If I do b squared minus 4ac, that's negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. This whole part right here turns into plus 8. Negative 2 when I square it also becomes a positive 4. So that becomes 12, which is no good. So we're down to 50-50. And let's check out choice 4 as well. All right, so I'm going to erase choice 3 because that's not a candidate. Choice 4, let's find out if it's a candidate. So choice 4, b squared minus 4ac, where a is equal to 1, b is equal to negative 2, and c is positive 2. That becomes negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2. That's 4 minus 8 is negative 4. So both of these have a discriminant of negative 4. Let's just find out which one gives us 1 plus minus I as a solution, all right? So I'm going to go over to the smartboard. And I'm going to copy the equations in. So for choice 2, the equation was x squared plus 2x plus 2 equals 0. And we know the discriminant b squared minus 4ac became negative 4. So if I use the formula, the quadratic formula right here, right? If I use the quadratic formula, I don't need to calculate the b squared minus 4ac again. So it'll be x equals, remember b is 2, so negative 2 plus and minus. I just got an alert, ESPN. I wonder what's going on. I'm a sports fanatic. So we know our discriminant b squared minus 4ac is negative 4, right? So that'll be negative 4 in here. And where a equals 1, b equals 2, c equals 2. So I got negative 2 for negative b. And 2a is just 2 times 1, which is 2. So that just becomes, if I, and I'll put the 1 here so we see the work. Negative 2 plus minus square root of negative 4 is 2i all over 2. If I split it up and divide all terms by 2, it just becomes negative 1 plus minus I. But I want positive 1 plus minus I. So by elimination, guys, our answer is choice 4. And let's just work it out and show that it works. So remember, the discriminant for choice 4 was also negative 4. So I'm going to clear this out. And we had x squared minus 2x plus 2 equals 0. So if I check it out, guys, remember A is 1, B is negative 2, C is positive 2, and we've calculated b squared minus 4ac to be negative 4. So if I substitute into the quadratic formula, it becomes x equals negative b. So if b is negative 2, negative b becomes positive 2. Plus minus square root of negative 4 over 2 times 1. That becomes 2 plus minus 2i all over 2, or I could divide them separately. Dividing all terms by 2 gives me 1 plus minus I. So one of them is 1 plus I, one of them is 1 minus I. So our answer is indeed choice 4. Now, honestly, I would have preferred to have used completing the square as an algebraic method because it's faster, but I know the quadratic formula is one that most people are familiar with, so that's why I just stuck with that. We could have used the graphing calculator to confirm, but you're going to have to ask your teacher how to do that, all right? Because I don't have one on the computer. I could go online and do it, but that's not going to match yours. I could go online and show you guys that. I mean, we know that's the answer. You need to see on your calculator how to do that, all right? But I'll put it in here just to prove it. So x squared, I'm using an online polynomial equation solver from Symbol Lab. So here's our equation. But you need to know how to do it in your calculator to get the roots, all right? Because it's different. So we got our solutions as x plus and x equals 1 plus I and x equals 1 minus I. All right, so let's move on. And you could get it done very quickly in the calculator that way. Okay, pause the video if you need to at any stage, but I'm going to clear everything out here. Because I'm going to need space for the next question. So let's read the question while we're at it, right? Which statements about statistical studies is or are true, depending on how many of them are true? So we just want to find out which one's true. And if you know the different types of statistical studies, there's a controlled experiment, surveys, and observational studies. Now, all of these are about surveys. So let's read the first one. A survey of all English classes in a high school will be a good sample to determine the number of hours students throughout the school spend studying. So that would be a good sample simply because we're trying to see how much time people spend studying. We picked a random class that includes all grade levels, right? And they're talking about how much time they spend studying in all their classes, right? So this is a good sample. So I'm going to put 1 as a viable option. But it's a statement, so it could be more than 1. So next one, a survey of all 9th graders in a high school would be a good sample to determine the number of student parking spaces needed at the high school. So in the first one, guys, if we survey all English classes, we get a good idea of how much time people spend studying because we're getting students from all grade levels and all the classes, right? Because just because they're in English class doesn't mean they're also in the other classes, all right? So the sample is representative of the population. In this one, 9th graders, few, if any, of the 9th graders drive, so that's not going to give us a good idea of the number of student parking spaces needed, right? If 5% of 9th graders, which would still be too high, need parking spaces, it's more likely to be higher for the people from higher grades. So because most of them will not be freshmen, if any, right? So bad sample. So anything with choice 2 is with option 2 is out. All right, so that eliminates choice 2. Next one, a survey of all students in one lunch period in a high school would be a good sample to determine the number of hours adults spend on social media websites. No, because it's not representative of the population. Adults mean that they're greater than equal to 18 years old, right? Most of the students in this sample will be in the lunch period will be less than 18, and with a few maybe being 18 and maybe even older, but that's a very small sample of this population will be adults, if any. So that's not a good sample because it leaves out too many other adults, right? So this is not good. So anything with option 3 is out. So since these two choices are out by default, we have to choose choice 1. And let's just look at choice option 4 just to prove it. So a survey of all calculus students in a high school would be a good sample to determine the number of students throughout the school who don't like math. No, because unlike in English class in option 1, calculus students, not all students take calculus. Um, that's a very small portion of the student body, and that's restricted to a certain grade level. And the fact that they're taking calculus means that they might be more likely to like math. That's biased. It underrepresents the rest of the students. All right, so this is uh, not a good sample either, and only one is good. So choice 1 for option 1. All right, I'm not going to circle that because that's the choices over here. All right, choice 1. Now we're going to move on. It's all about knowing good samples that are representative of the population in a survey. Okay? So moving on to question 3. To the nearest tenth, the value of x that satisfies 2 to the x equals negative 2x plus 11 is, and they just want the value of x to the nearest tenth. So our answer should be of the form x is equal to approximately something point something. Uh, so what I'm going to do, if you have an equation solver feature in your calculator, you could use that and it'll give you the solution, but this is not something that could be solved algebraically. So we're going to go to our graphing calculator. All right, I'll reload this. I'm using the Desmos graphing calculator, and we just want to look for the point of intersection. So I'm going to set one of the equations equal to 2 to the x power. You could put the parentheses, that's how I usually do it, or in the base too, but it's not necessary as long as you remember to put the x in the exponent. Negative 2x plus 11 is linear. Oh, I forgot to put the x. Okay, there's one point of intersection. It's approximately 2.6 and 5.9. But remember, they're asking for the x value, right? Because there's no y, so the answer would be 2.6. The 5.9 is the value I would get if I substitute 2 to the power, if I substitute x for the exponent and raise 2 to the power of about 2.557, it'll give me about 5.886. And the same thing, if I substitute 2.557 for x into this one, it'll also give me 5.886. So what they're saying is that they're equal when x is about 2.6, okay? So next one. That was just knowing how to use your graphing calculator. There was nothing to do algebraically, that one. That one cannot be done algebraically. So the lifespan of a 60-watt bulb produced by a company is normally distributed with a mean of 1450 hours and a standard deviation of 8.5 hours. Let's write that down. So the mean standard deviation of all the light bulbs, the mean, you could use this symbol for mean, or you could just write out mean, is 1450 hours, 1450 hours, and the standard deviation. This is the sample for standard, I'm sorry. This is the symbol for the population standard deviation. All right? I think it's called sigma. I keep messing it up. I'm sorry. Let me fix it. So I'll just draw an O and just a little line coming out of the O, not like theta when you're measuring an angle, is equal to 8.5 hours. So if a 60-watt bulb is produced by this company selected at random, what's the probability that its lifespan is between these two intervals? So this is what we call the lower or minimum and the maximum, right? So I'll call the lower. All right, so soon I'm gonna have to get up to, so I'm gonna go up to question 6, all right, because I'm gonna have to put my, I was gonna say phone. I'm gonna have to put this on the charger. So the lower bound, they wanna see between 1440 hours and the upper is 1465 hours. So they're all hours. I don't need to worry about the units. What I'm gonna look for, guys, is they said it's a we want to make sure we understand that it's a normal distribution. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'll highlight in a different color. Understand it's a normal distribution, okay? So what you're gonna do is some calculators will allow you to enter these values in a normal distribution, all right? And then from there, get the percentage. If you enter it something like this, I'm going to use, believe it or not, the Desmos graphing calculator. I'm going to clear all this out. I don't need the graph, but what I will do is take out the normal distribution calculator. So I go to functions, statistics, no, distribution. And then I want normal distribution. And what I get is a normal distribution, cumulative probability. What I'm going to enter here is first I'm going to enter the mean, which was 1450, I believe, followed by the standard deviation, 8.5, and then the lower and upper are 1440 and 1465, and I get the probability is 0.84149-ish, which is about 0.8415, right? Because I got about 0.84149-ish, right? Which rounds to this. If you have a Casio, so I'm gonna come back here in a second. In a Casio, what you're gonna do is you wanna go to norm CD. That stands for normal cumulative distribution, and again, it's gonna be for the Casio. You're gonna enter the lower first, or the min, 1440, comma, upper, I believe it was 1465, and then you enter the standard deviation first, which was what was the standard deviation? 8.5 hours. And then you enter the mean, 1450. All right, that's for a Casio. All right, that's for the Casio calculator. All right. If you're using the a TI, you want to use norm CDF, which is very similar to what we have in here because it says normal dist and then CDF. It means the same thing and it works the same as the Casio, but unlike in the Casio, what you do is you still enter the lower first, all right, and then the upper, but you enter the mean first and then the standard deviation. All right, and you have to see how your calculator works. I'm not sure which one you're using, right? So this is lower, upper, and it'll give you the same values, okay? So that's all there was to it, guys. All right, so I'm going to see if I could get done with the next two questions because I'm down to 6%. So number 5, which factorization is incorrect? Which one is not correct? You could use your graphing calculator and see in tables which ones don't result in the same value, but 4k squared minus 49 factors into different squares is 2k plus and minus 7. So this is correct, so I'm not going to use that as my choice. The next one, choice 2, I could either use the sum and difference of cubes factoring pattern, but let's say you don't know that, then I'm going to distribute what just happened. And let me pull me up for a little while too. You can also distribute the a minus 2b. So, and let's see if this is correct or not. My pen is misbehaving. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's not connected properly or what's happening. Yeah, I have no clue what's going on. And we have a squared plus 2ab. All right, guys, I'm going to stop here and continue in the next video, okay? In case that was this is the last thing you're going to see, good luck. Study and let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to come back and resume with number 5 in the next video, okay? Because I don't want to have to start over. And I don't like the way this pen is not working right now. All right, so take care. And I'm going to also put the phone on charger. All right, bye for now.